Another statement or series of statements I've been hearing a lot on the airwaves in society these days is your feelings don't matter. And I think these statements are usually directed at someone who didn't get their way, maybe they're upset. And so people are like, well, your feelings don't matter. I also think children get this message a lot, which is terrible. And I kind of get where they're coming from, but I think again, it's a statement that's too general and it's leaving out some key important points about feelings and emotions. The way I would put it would be to say something like, while your feelings may not matter so much to everyone else, they definitely should matter to you. For me personally, listening and considering the feelings and emotions that come up on a daily basis have helped me immensely with developing more self-trust, more self-confidence, and a stronger intuition. To me, having a healthy, functioning relationship with our emotions and our feelings is like having our very own Arthurian Knights of the Round Table within us. A specialized council of individuals, all with their own skill sets and perspectives, who are completely invested in our well-being. Even though each member may have a different approach to the unique challenges that life presents, they all have equal opportunity to express their views and opinions. Together, they make up the totality of who we are, so it's important to at least hear each of them out when they voice a concern before ultimately deciding how to move forward. By giving our emotions and feelings the time of day, it lets them know that we value the work they do for us, which in turn will ensure they continue to play active roles in our lives. You can't always please every emotional impulse in life. There's going to be times where you have to go with one emotion over the other. But even if you can't act on every emotion, you can still do your best to at least listen to their concerns and caretake them. Here's an example. Say on one hand, you have an aspect of you that's very hardworking and practical. And then on the other hand, you have an inner child that's more spontaneous and free-spirited. This is very common, by the way. Now imagine you have a test coming up that's very important for your career, and if you pass this test, it will open up so many opportunities financially and so forth. And you've been grinding away at studying for this test for months, to the point where it's consumed a big part of your life. And now this inner child has been coming up, this inner child free-spirited part. And it's been saying things like, hey, why don't you take a break? Let's do something fun. We need to get out of the house. Your friends miss you. Now, there's a lot of advice out there which would say things like, you need to crush that voice. That voice is weak. It's going to keep you stuck in mediocrity. You're never going to rise to your potential. So push that voice away and keep it away at all costs. Now, if you're in an industry that's very competitive and you want to reach the top of the corporate ladder, so to speak, then by all means, do what you got to do, crush it. You might not have time to listen to your emotions, and that actually might be counterintuitive to your goals. So if that's you, go for it. But I think for the majority of us who still want success, but don't want to completely condemn emotions, there are a lot of other options that are much healthier available to us. Here's one of them. Personally, I don't think you should ever condemn an emotion, nor do I think it's really possible. I think when we think we're condemning or pushing an emotion away, we're just suppressing it. It's still there. It's going to come up in other ways. So don't do that. What you can do instead is tune into this inner child and tell it something like, look, I value what you do for me, but this test is just too important. We've worked on it so hard for too long. We have to remain focused on this. But I promise that, like, once we pass this test and it's all said and done, I will make time for you. Or, this weekend, I will set aside a couple hours just for you. You see how we're treating it like an individual and we're not ignoring it. We are telling it no, though. We're essentially saying, right now, no. So that's the difference, again, between listening to an emotion, just hearing it out, and letting it know that you hear it and you'll get back to it at a certain point. So, in this situation, it was probably more important to you overall to listen to this more practical, hardworking part. But in other situations, you might need to bring out the inner child to address a certain situation. Maybe the inner child will have a better outlook on a different situation. For instance, if you're with your kids or with friends, or maybe you're on vacation and you want to be able to let loose and really enjoy it and let go, this free-spirited part might be great at these type of situations. You see what I'm trying to tell you is there's certain parts that are better suited for different situations. They all have value. Look, in my opinion, the emotions that I've suppressed in my life never, ever really went away. They just found new unhealthy ways to pop up in my life. And unfortunately, I see this as an issue that's currently running rampant in our society and throughout the human race. So value all the members of your roundtable. And if some emotion or feeling comes up that feels uncomfortable, then that's a signal that one of these members has a concern. Maybe it's worried or scared, or whatever the case may be, it needs your attention. So listen to it. And eventually, when you have time to work with it, if you can't work with it in the moment, at least tell it, hey, I will get back to you, but I hear you. I feel you. I'll say it again. Giving your feelings and emotions a chance to be heard and voice its concerns will go so far in helping you develop and maintain a healthy intuition and sense of self. I personally believe that there is so much value in maintaining a healthy relationship with your feelings and emotions. In fact, I attribute much of the success that I've had in healing my anxiety and depression to making this a part of my daily practice. Another statement I hear a lot, and I kind of already touched on this already, is don't listen to your emotions. Just that simple. So general. Like, what does that mean? Like ever? Like never listen to your emotions? Again, I think I know where this type of statement comes from. People have been burned, or they perceive they've been burned by their emotions, or they've felt the wrath of someone else's emotional outburst. So I get where it's coming from, but I think there's a better way to say this or to look at it. Instead, we can say something like, by all means, listen to your emotions. Just don't act on every single emotion that pops up. There's a big difference between listening and acting on your emotions. And I think it's the acting on every emotions is what gives rise to these kind of statements. Like, don't listen to your emotions. Don't act on every emotion that pops up. Get to know your emotions, talk your emotions. When you listen to your emotions on a daily basis, you can get some really good insights. Trying to understand the why behind certain strong emotions and feelings that rise up can be very beneficial for your growth. For instance, if you're feeling something like, every time I'm around this certain person, I feel nervous, or this person or situation makes me angry. Well, I could just avoid these types of people and situations, but then that can easily develop into an unhealthy pattern of avoiding anything that makes me uncomfortable or anxious. I find it much more beneficial to understand what the underlying trigger is in a given situation, so I may be able to see the truth and grow as an individual. If we begin to look deeply into the why a certain emotion came up, we can discover an emotion's origins. From there, we can decide whether the emotion is serving us or if it's indicating an area of ourselves that needs healing or working with. When you listen to your feelings and emotions on a regular basis, you give them the message that you're invested in their well-being and that you value their insights, that you won't abandon them even if you choose not to act on them. This is especially crucial for children. A child who learns to trust and caretake their inner faculties and keep their compass clear from an early age will grow up with a strong sense of direction and will not fall prey to the influence of others easily. They will develop a healthy relationship with their intuition and have the confidence to follow their truth. Statements like, don't let your feelings or emotions get the best of you, I feel are missing the point. Instead, I would say, don't bottle up and suppress your feelings and emotions for so long, only to have them erupt on someone else when triggered in a stressful situation. Instead, develop a daily practice which includes tuning in and allowing emotions and feelings to come up, to come to the surface, while addressing them in the moment, so that you can find solutions and move through them, preventing them from becoming stuck or so charged the next time around. As always, thanks for watching this video, guys. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing and dropping a like. Also, if you have anything you'd like to share that you think might help someone who's watching, who might be struggling, please comment down below. And until next time, keep going, guys. You're doing awesome. Take care.